Welcome back, fuckers. Alrighty, today we're going to run through the targeting pod, how to install it, how to use it in its basic functionalities, and then later on we're going to use it to blow the living shit out of some targets on the ground with some GPUs, both the JDAM and laser guided varieties. So let's quickly get cracking into this. Let's get a loadout. So when you're installing the targeting pod, it can go on the send line, station 5, and on station 4. Okay, so you can fit it to either station 5, your send line, AN/AAQ-28 Lightning, that is the targeting pod you want to be using. AWW-13 Data Link pod is for your slam missiles, which we're not going to cover yet. So that's the one, AN/AAQ-28 Lightning, that is the one. We're going to put this bad boy on the left hand cheek panel, because we're rocking the skin and we all know what happens when you put send line on.
Copy.
Send line targeting pod in the skin. It's not suitable for YouTube. So we're going to go ahead and install this bad boy.
Refueling complete.
And once she gets fitted to the left hand cheek station, we'll have a quick sticky beak. We'll go through how to turn it on, and we'll run through setup procedures. There she is. There is our targeting pod. Let's quickly go here and there and forward. Oh god. There she is. There is our targeting pod. Alright, the lightning pod. That is it. That is the targeting pod. You go ahead, jump into the cockpit now. So to turn it on, once it's fitted to the aircraft and you get the rearmies complete, right here is the lightning pod switch to turn on, so FLIR. So you're going to right click, go to standby, and that's all you need to do. Then you can go to your attack page, FLIR, and it's doing its thing. So it says RDY with a line through it, not timed out, which means that it is currently doing its warm up, getting all the systems online, ready to rumble, good to go, happy days. So that's it. That's how you turn on the targeting pod, FLIR. The only other thing you need to worry about is the LTD/R. So this is your laser. If you want to do lasering, laser designation, make sure that's turned to ARM as well. All right, we'll go through that in a jiffy. We're just going to get into a jet in the air and we'll run through targeting pod 101. Back in a second. Alrighty. Let's run through this bad boy. Here we go. So we are now airborne. We've got, as you can see on our stores page, we've got a lightning pod, FLIR, on the left hand cheek station. We've got some GBU-38s, JDAMs, and GBU-12s, laser guided bombs on board. We're not going to go through those right now. We're going to go through the targeting pod 101. So here we go. Again, to get to the page, make sure you're in the TAC page of your DDIs or MFDs, whatever you call them, and you're going to click on FLIR. So at the moment we are in standby mode. Alright, you can see standby, so it's going to go from ready, dash through, and not timed out. It will turn onto this page, okay, when it's in standby. So now we're going to go ahead, right click, turn the bad boy on. Awesome, it's on. Look at the high definition we've got there. No, we've got to do more stuff. Okay, so the targeting pod is turned on, but it's currently stowed at the moment. So a couple of ways we can get the targeting pod to turn on. Well, the easiest way is right over here. We'll quickly run through the options you've got that you can kind of muck around with. So we've got reticle, RTCL, so this will put the crosshair, your aiming reticle to designate targets and stuff. You can box it or unbox it. This one here is what we're going to press, VVSLV, which stands for a velocity vector, which is this guy here, slave. So what we're going to do when we press that, we're going to make our targeting pod, which is on our left hand cheek station, is going to look wherever our velocity vector is. So if we put that circle on the ground, that's where the targeting pod is going to be looking. So we're going to go ahead and press that now. And bam. Alright, so we have got velocity vector, it's slaved. Good times. And we've got no... That's it, it's looking straight ahead. So now we can press reticle. Alright, puts our aiming reticle on so we can see what we're looking at, designate targets and all the rest. And we can turn that on and off if you want. Options. Now we've got our laser code for the targeting pod, so we'll make our way around the options there. So VV SLV, when that's boxed, it is stuck. It's slave to your velocity vector, so if we don't want it there, you just uncheck it and it's going to go to snowplow mode. So it's kind of looking forward of the jet at the ground. That's what it's looking at there. So you can choose between VV SLV, velocity vector slave, or just leave it in the snowplow. Or you can actually use a waypoint to designate a spot on the ground as well, which we'll go through in a second. So UFC code, all right, at the moment, if I press on that, it gives us a search, this option here, LSTC, okay, laser search track. So we can tell our targeting pod if there was, you had a buddy lasing for you, or there was a JTAC on the ground lasing targets. You could punch in the code and then tell your targeting pod to search for the laser code in a certain area and it'll find it. But it's not giving us our actual laser code to designate targets ourselves because we don't have it turned on. So you got to come down here and right here, LTD/R, left click. Right, another thing, make sure you're in air to ground mode. All right, air to ground mode, otherwise your laser will not turn on. Left click and it should go to arm. And now if we do the same thing here, we've got options LTDC, laser target designation, laser search track. Okay, so that's how you change the two codes. If you want to change the UFC code to something different, to deconflict, if there's someone already in the area bombing on 1688, you can just come here and go 1687, for example. All right, and there we go. Our laser code is set 1687. That's that. Moving around, we've got laser search track. If you press that, it's going to wherever your targeting pod's looking. Okay, wherever it's looking, it is going to look for that code. So you can kind of slew your targeting pod into what's going on here. Autopilot. Let's just go into a it's struggling for altitude right now, or airspeed. Alright, now we're cruising along. Let's continue back on. We don't crash into the ground. We've gone through setting up the code, laser search track, and now you've got an option down here, CCD, which is our display. So we've got CCD, which is just normal video camera mode, and then you've got FLIR as well. Okay, FLIR as well. You can cycle between the two, and just to show you the difference, you can do that. So with the FLIR mode, so if we just go ahead and designate a spot, we'll just slow this down. I'm going to show you how to do all this stuff in a second, so don't stress. So CCD mode, and then FLIR. Okay, we've got some options here. You've got automatic gain settings, so it will kind of adjust the lighting as you see fit. If you don't want to use that, you can unbox that. Click on this one here. So you've got level. You can make it brighter or darker to you, and then same deal, gain. You can tweak as you see fit, or you can just put it back on ALG. Up to you. You've also got white hot, black hot. You can cycle between the two, and that's about it. Okay, so there we go. Let's continue around. So now we've got on our MFD, we've got zoom. You can zoom in by pressing the buttons, and then up the top here we've got wide or narrow. So that box there, that is your narrow field of view. So if we go to that, that's what it's looking at. So you can kind of see field of view as you need to zoom in and out to look at targets. All right, so now we're going to go through, let's go through finding some targets to designate on the ground. Okay, so you can, before we get any further in, we're going to go through the controls you need. So you're going to need sensor control switch right, left, aft, forward, and you won't need depress. Don't worry about depress. I pressed that by accident. And throttle designator controller depress, and then throttle designator controller down, left, right, up. Okay, so you're gonna need all of those bound. So refresher throttle designator controller, that's what you use to move your radar around, and then throttle designator controller depress, that is your radar lock button. If you know how to use the radar, that's the same controls you're going to use. And then these ones, sensor control switch right, left, aft, and forward, you're going to use it to select your appropriate DDIs. Okay. Right, so we need to make our targeting pod soy. So we can do that, and you can tell if it's soy because it puts this little diamond, that little diamond there, which means that when I use my TDC, I'm in control of this sensor, okay, the bottom one. So I'm going to press sensor select right because my targeting pod is on the right hand DDI, and you can see right there, we've got the diamond. So now if I move my TDC around, it's going to let me salute. Okay, I can control my targeting pod. But it's still kind of, it's not locked to the ground. Not locked to the ground because we haven't actually designated a spot for it to look at. It's just in snowplow mode, so it's just moving as the jet's moving. So a couple of options we can use. Okay, we can designate a target. So we've got waypoint number 1. Okay, we're going to go ahead and press a waypoint designate. So you can do this off of your SA page or the HSI page. Okay, either or will work. You just press waypoint designate, this one here, WPDSG. We're going to go off the SA page because it's going to show us a few more things. We're going to press that WPDSD, and you can see now we've got a box. If I move that little square there, that's where my targeting pod's looking. And if we undesignate, alright, you can see our targeting pod is moving around as I'm slowing around. So I'm not even looking at the targeting pod screen. I can see where my my targeting pod's looking on the ground because of that box. We're going to go ahead and press it again, and we'll just roll over. Whoa, shit, not that far. Easy, fella. Alright, so we've got our waypoint designated, and if we come over here, we can see that our actual camera is looking at a spot on the ground now, and you can tell it has because it's got the diamond saying it's designated a spot. So same deal, we've got the HUD as soy, so the HUD, the DDI as soy for our targeting pod. Now I can move my cursor around, and we're going to go through how to zoom in and out. Okay, so there is HOTAS commands you can use to, rather than having to come down here and press zoom in, zoom out, I want to go narrow or wide. We can do this with our HOTAS. Okay, so we're going to go through the commands that's going to let you do this real quick. So what you're looking for is you're going to need the following bound: RAID/FLIR FOV select button. So this is going to work for your targeting pod and your Mavericks when you're using the Maverick Seeker heads to like look for targets. RAID/FLIR field of view. Okay, and then you're going to use also your radar elevation control up, radar elevation control down. So we went through those ones in the radar operation tutorials, how to slew your radar up and down. So you're going to use those two, or those three: RAID FLIR, radar elevation control down and up, to slew our targeting pod, zoom in and out. So as long as you've got your targeting pod as soy, you've got the diamond on the targeting pod, if I press the RAID/FLIR FOV, it goes to narrow and wide. I can cycle through without pressing. I don't have to press this. Okay, I'm just pressing the RAID/FLIR FOV button, which I've got bound to my HOTAS. And then if I want to zoom in and out, okay, so radar control, or radar elevation control up zooms in. So I'm just pressing radar control elevation up, radar control elevation down zooms out, and we've just lost our lovely little area. So we'll just hook around into a left-hand turn until we get the camera back. Okay, so now we can zoom in and out. Like I said, radar elevation control up zooms in, and then your RAID FLIR goes from narrow to wide field of view. And we're fucking doing it again, boys. We're doing it again. So let's do this. Just for ease of this, we're just going to go in active pause now, so we're not going to fall out of the sky. We can quickly run through the last little bit of your targeting pod. Okay, so zoom in with the RAID FLIR, narrow and wide, and then radar elevation down zooms out, radar elevation up zooms in. So you don't have to click the buttons on the actual MFD. You can if you want, but it's easier if you've got a HOTAS. There's that. Now, to designate a target or designate a spot on the ground, so say I like the look of this guy, I'm going to go ahead and press TDC to press, so the same button used for your radar, press it, and it's going to put a diamond. So now we've designated that spot. So we've told our stores management computer or our weapon computer that if we're going to drop a bomb, this is where it's going to drop the bomb on, this spot right here on the ground. Alright, if you want to undesignate a target, to undesignate, the control is, your noticeable steering switch. So undesignate / noticeable steering. If you do that though, so if I press undesignate, your reticle or your targeting pod is going to re-slew back to snowplow mode. So if you do that and you want to get back in the area, you need to redesignate the waypoint, all right, and then slew it around to your target again. Okay, so keep that in mind. That is a thing. Okay, so now just say, let's find, we don't have any moving guys down there, but just say this guy here was driving around. Okay, he was moving. So rather than like tapping and tapping and tapping and trying to keep him locked, what you can do is, depending on what sensor you've got the T-pod on, so I've got on my right MFD, so I'm going to press sensor select right again, and it's going to go to area track mode. Okay, if I press it again, it's going to go to point track mode. So if this guy was driving around, you put the cursor on him, press sensor select right if you're on the right MFD, so you get the 2 bars, and then this will follow wherever this guy drives, as long as our camera can see him and don't lose line of sight. If he drives away, our camera is just going to lock onto him and follow, so it will help us guide laser guided bombs onto a moving target. Okay, so point track mode, and then to get back out of it one more time, you go back to the diamond. Okay, so if we use the bottom DDI, the difference between this one and this one and this one, okay, these two are the same. It's going to show up in green. If I put my FLIR pod now down here, it's going to show up in black and white. Okay, and you can go FLIR mode. So this is black and white controls, and this one is green. So as to your personal preference, if you like looking down, and you like having it in black and white, or if you don't really care, you can have it in green. Up to you what you want to use. Go hard on that one. So that is that. How to change. So if we were down here, okay, so now we're in the bottom DDI, sensor select aft is going to change it to area track. Sensor select aft again is going to change it to point track, and then again we'll switch it back to diamond. When you're in area track or point track mode, okay, so if I press it, I'm trying to slew my my targeting pod around. It doesn't. It locks it to whatever you're looking at. So I can't control my targeting pod at all. I can't slew it. It's locked to that spot. Same in point track mode. It won't let you slew. You have to go back to the diamond so you can move the targeting pod again. Okay, so if you want to lock a spot on the ground and not lose, not bump it, not lose it, that's kind of what you go for. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we've covered most things for basic operation. We obviously are going to go in a little bit more in depth on how to actually drop a bomb on targets using the laser guided bombs and the GPS guided bombs using the targeting pod, and we'll go a little bit more in depth. But that is the basics, guys. Hopefully it helped for you. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned some shit. If you didn't, oh well, fucking you watched it anyway. Good job. Awesome work. And I'll catch you fuckers on the next one. Alright, peace out.